Welcome to Trending Now USA, and I am Bella. Today we are covering a story that has gripped the tennis world and sparked a wave of emotional reactions from fans, analysts, and fellow athletes alike. This is one of those rare moments where sports transcend competition and move into something deeper: human vulnerability, pressure, expectation, and the weight of being a global star at such a young age. The moment centers on Coco Gauff and an emotional interview that has quickly become one of the most talked about scenes in recent tennis coverage. What unfolded was difficult to watch, but also important, because it reveals the enormous pressure that rides on the shoulders of young athletes who are expected to carry the hopes of a nation, the dreams of fans, and the scrutiny of critics after every match. Coco Gauff, still only in her early 20s, has often displayed poise beyond her years, handling interviews, victories, losses, and controversies with maturity that continues to impress both supporters and rivals. But for the first time in a long time, viewers watched her struggle through words, pausing repeatedly, trying to hold her composure while a flood of emotion surfaced. It's rare to see Coco in that state, and that rarity is exactly what made the footage go viral. What happened? What triggered such raw emotion? And why is the global tennis community responding so strongly? Today's script examines everything from the events leading up to the interview to the deeper context surrounding Coco's mindset, the reactions from fans, coaches, experts, and fellow athletes, and the broader conversation it has sparked about mental health in sports. In the hours leading up to the interview, Gauff had just finished a match that left her visibly drained. It wasn't the type of loss that comes from being physically overpowered or tactically outplayed. Instead, it was the kind that unfolds slowly, point by point, where the pressure builds as expectations collide with reality. Analysts noted that Coco appeared tense from the beginning of the match, her footwork slightly rushed, her reactions slightly delayed, and her body language telling a story long before the scoreboard caught up. Every athlete experiences these moments, but for someone like Coco, who competes under the spotlight of massive anticipation, even the smallest signs become magnified. When she walked into the interview room afterward, fans expected her usual calm demeanor. Instead, she sat down, took a few moments to settle, and then struggled to begin speaking. Her voice cracked, and she paused again, looking downward as she attempted to gather her thoughts. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't exaggerated. It was simply human, someone trying to express the weight of disappointment and fatigue while still maintaining professionalism in front of cameras. The moment that drew the most attention came when she tried to describe how difficult the match had been, not only physically, but mentally. She started a sentence, stopped, inhaled deeply, and apologized quietly. The interviewer reassured her, telling her to take her time, but the room was completely silent as she attempted again. What viewers saw next was Coco fighting back tears, blinking rapidly, pressing her lips together, and finally saying that she felt she had let people down, not just herself, but her team, her family, her fans, and everyone who believed in her progress this season. This statement hit hard for many who watched it live. Social media lit up instantly, not with criticism, but with overwhelming support. Users across platforms posted messages urging her to be kind to herself, reminding her that even champions have difficult days and that her worth is not defined by a single performance. What made this interview particularly emotional was the honesty with which Coco spoke about the pressure she faces, not in a way that blames anyone, but in a way that reveals the internal expectations she sets for herself. It became clear that the tears were not just about one match. They were about the long journey, the constant scrutiny, the relentless drive to be better, and the responsibility she feels to everyone who has supported her. After the emotional pause, Coco continued speaking, explaining that the match had felt like a mental battle she couldn't quite win, even though she had tried everything. Her comments shed light on a rarely discussed aspect of professional tennis: the psychological endurance required throughout a long season. She talked about how hard she had been training, how she felt she had improved in certain areas, and how disappointing it was to walk off the court without being able to showcase that progress. Despite her emotional state, she articulated her thoughts with clarity, a testament to her professionalism even under distress. Her coach, commenting later, mentioned that Coco had been pushing herself intensely over the past few weeks, trying to fine-tune parts of her game and working through physical fatigue that often accumulates late in the season. While he did not want to go into personal details, he acknowledged that sometimes the pressure becomes too heavy, even for athletes accustomed to performing at the highest levels. He emphasized that Coco is strong, resilient, and determined, but also human, and that moments like this are part of the journey. Fellow players also reacted. Several WTA stars expressed their admiration for her honesty, saying that vulnerability in sports is often misunderstood as weakness, when in reality, it is a sign of courage. One player commented that interviews after losses are the hardest part of the job because you're expected to speak openly while still processing your emotions. Another praised Coco for setting an example by talking about her mental state rather than pretending everything was fine. These responses helped shift the public conversation from focusing solely on the match to recognizing the emotional demands placed on elite athletes. In the broader tennis community, analysts began discussing the interview as a pivotal moment in understanding the challenges young stars face. Some compared Coco's emotional struggle to similar moments experienced by other top athletes, noting that the public often forgets the age of these competitors. Many pointed out that the combination of early success, constant media attention, and high expectations can create mental pressure that rivals the pressure of competition itself. Through all of this, fans have remained largely supportive. One of the key factors contributing to Coco's popularity has always been her authenticity. Whether she's winning Grand Slams, fighting through tough matches, or confronting emotional hurdles, she has consistently presented herself with honesty and integrity. That authenticity was on full display during the interview, and it reminded viewers why she has become one of the most beloved figures in tennis today. As the interview continued, Coco shifted from discussing her immediate disappointment to reflecting on her season as a whole. She acknowledged that while she wished she had performed better in this match, she was proud of the progress she had made throughout the year. She talked about her training, her improved consistency, her development as a competitor, and her understanding that setbacks are part of the journey. It was in these moments that her strength became most visible, not through confidence, but through vulnerability paired with resilience. She also spoke about wanting to learn from the experience rather than dwell on it. This attitude resonated with many viewers, especially younger athletes who look up to her as a role model. Coco emphasized that failure is not final and that she intends to use this moment as motivation. That message carried significant weight, especially coming from someone who had just displayed how deeply the loss affected her. Her ability to shift from emotion to determination within the same interview is part of what makes her such a compelling figure in the world of sports. The interview concluded with Coco thanking her fans for their continued support. She said that even during the toughest moments, she draws strength from their encouragement. Despite her tears and pauses, she expressed gratitude and hope, promising that she would continue working hard and giving her best in future matches. After the interview aired, reactions continued pouring in. Commentators described it as one of the most heartfelt and genuine moments seen in recent tennis media. Mental health advocates praised Coco for normalizing emotional expression, especially in a field where athletes often feel pressured to appear invulnerable. Sports psychologists also weighed in, explaining that emotional reactions after intense competition are not only normal but healthy. This moment has sparked new conversations about the expectations placed on young athletes, particularly those who rise quickly into the global spotlight. Coco's journey has been meteoric, filled with achievements that many players do not reach until later in their careers. With that success comes immense attention, and the emotional toll of navigating that attention while competing at the highest level cannot be understated. Coco's emotional interview serves as a reminder that athletes are more than their performances. They are individuals with hopes, fears, pressures, and emotions, people who experience highs and lows, triumphs and disappointments. Her willingness to express vulnerability openly may mark an important step toward broader acceptance of mental health discussions in professional sports. In the days following the interview, footage continued to spread, but what spread with it was empathy. Fans reposted clips not to criticize, but to express support. Coaches shared insights about the importance of emotional well-being. Journalists praised her honesty. Even casual tennis viewers commented on how moving the moment was, reminding the world that behind every highlight, every victory, and every defeat, there is a person giving their all. Coco's story is far from over. This moment, while difficult, is just one chapter in her long career. If anything, it may serve as a turning point, a moment of reflection that strengthens her resolve and broadens public understanding of the pressures she faces. What she showed in that interview was not weakness, but humanity. And that humanity is exactly what inspires millions. As we continue to follow her journey, one thing is clear. Coco Gauff remains one of the most fascinating, talented, and emotionally resonant athletes of her generation. Her courage in sharing her struggle may ultimately help reshape the way the world views the mental and emotional lives of elite competitors. Thank you for watching Trending Now USA, and I am Bella.